Welcome back to Raising Real Estate Standards. This is episode 1 of season 5.
Season 5.
2025. Here we go. And we thought we'd start off this year by doing things that going into something that we typically do the end of the year, but a lot of people don't have time to get it done, so we're going to do it first part of the year, and that's talking about business planning. Mm-hmm. It's an important part of your business, and business planning can be super boring, but it's also super important. And we'll try to keep you guys awake and just kind of hit on the high levels of things that you can think about as you are planning for what will sure be a phenomenal 2025.
Yeah, and you got to remember, why do we do business planning? I mean, business planning's done because if you don't know where you're going, you're going to hit that with 100% accuracy, which means you don't know where you're going to go. And if you want to get somewhere, you have to have this plan to get there.
100%. So let's talk about some of the benefits that business planning is going to provide you and your business. First and foremost, it's going to provide you clarity. What you're supposed to be doing, what your potential outcomes could look like. It's going to give you a little bit of accountability. It's going to give you something to say, okay, well, I said I was going to do something. I didn't do it. It's now, second quarter. I'm going to get this done because I told myself I was going to get it done. It also allows you to be able to scale your business. In order to get better, bigger, and do more than what you're currently doing right now, you have to be able to scale, and this will allow you the ability to be able to do that. Also, in line with accountability, it's being consistent. And we've talked about this on years in and years out on a lot of these episodes. That it's not the big wow factor of the things that people do. It's the little things people do consistently over time, and planning for those things, putting the money in place, putting the plan in place will allow you to hit consistency a lot easier.
Yeah. So. Sometimes it's tough to do. It's tough to do business planning because, we're so busy working in our business that we need to work on our business. So you really need to carve out some time to step away from the whirlwind that's going on to really focus on working on your business. Now let's hit some highlights.
All right. So just a second.
Go ahead.
People say that a lot. Work in your business. We're working in our business, not on our business. Mm-hmm. And I want to make sure that we hit on that because that's a cliche term that a lot of people use for a lot of different things. And this is the epitome of working on your business.
True. Yep.
Business planning is absolutely probably the number one thing you need to do to work on your business. So take time to knock it out.
Yeah, because what I mean by that is when you're in your business, you're dealing with the day-to-day stuff. The stuff that the fires and everything else, right. That, and you've got to step away. You've got to turn your email off, your phone off. You got to step away from anything that can distract you, and that way you can focus on your business.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
Let's hit some highlights. So let's focus on setting goals and setting your vision in place for your business plan. So first, you want to start with defining why you're doing what you're doing. So what is this big? Why do you do what you do? What you ask yourself, look in the mirror, say, why do I get up every day and work so hard at what I do?
Absolutely, and it's for people in different stages in life, that's going to change, and so you need to ask yourself that question on a yearly basis. Right now, my why is probably similar to yours. It's my family, it's my kids, and it's I've got a child in college. I've got one that is getting ready to head off to college in a year or so. So that's my why. I want to be able to fund travel with my wife and my kids. Those are my big whys, and that's mine right now. But obviously, those things will change as time goes on.
Right, and as you're looking at this why, you want to build these goals to get to that why. There's no. It's hard to put dollar signs or dollars around some of these big whys while we do things, but there are points where you can say, okay, I'm going to need this in order to get this. So let's talk about setting goals to get to that why. So first we want to focus on these being SMART goals. So I'm sure everybody's heard the term SMART goal, but this is how you define a SMART goal. It's specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So specific, we're talking about it needs to have a specific thing like, I'm going to do X, I'm going to do this, and it needs to be as detailed as possible. You need to be able to measure it from a standpoint of, okay, how much production am I going to do this year? That's the measurable aspect of it. It needs to be achievable and relevant. So what you don't want to do, let's say you're a real estate agent and you've consistently done $4 to $5 million, $6 million in volume, pretty much over your career. And then you go, you know what? I'm going to do 20 million this year, or I'm going to do 25 million this year. I'm not saying don't set like superstar goals. What I'm saying is if you know you don't have the infrastructure in place, don't set it. And then you want to look at it being time bound, time bound from a perspective of I'm going to do this by this time.
Absolutely. And I would say one more very important piece of a SMART goal and being smart to do it, write it down. Any goal that's not written down is just a wish.
Yep.
And so write it down. That's something you're going to be able to look at throughout the year, over the period of time that you've set as your time bound. It's important to have that done. So as you're going through and setting your goals, some example of some of these goals that you would set is your annual transaction volume, your income targets, how much you want to make that year, or how many clients you want to acquire that are not currently your clients. Those are just some example of goals, and then you take those and you break down, well, how am I going to achieve those? That's when we start to analyze and start to get into the planning aspect of reaching those goals. It's important as you go through when you're business planning is also understanding your market. Understand so you've got these goals that you're setting. Well, you also needs to be, it has to be achievable. Well, you need to understand your market to determine if that goal is achievable. You also need to understand what your niche is and is what and how you're operating within your market going to be able to deliver the desired results that you've set in these lofty goals that you're putting out there. So it's important to do that. So understanding your market, local trends, what your demographics are of your target audience. Are you working in the luxury home market? Are you a first-time home buyer agent? Are you working with investors? And those three categories of clients thrive in different markets, right? So they're all not thriving at exactly the same time, and so you need to see who you're working with in the market that you're working within.
Yep. So, and next, we want to talk about the financial aspect of this business plan. So, in the financial planning, you've got your year, let's call it year-end goals we want to hit from a financial standpoint. And what we want to do is reverse engineer these by doing, some budgeting pieces. So we know if we want to hit 100,000 in commission dollars based on how many deals you do, what your price per unit is, that's going to tell you what you need to do throughout the year to get to that point. And you also want to take that and be able to put in the expenses that you feel comfortable that you've done in the past or you're going to have going forward, and that makes sense. So you see the revenue that comes in, you take out the expenses that you think you're going to spend. I do it on a monthly basis. Some people do it differently, but I do it 12 months, and that way I have it monthly, and then it ends up yearly. And then it gives you to that final number, which should get you to that financial goal that you're looking for.
And when you're putting these things together, just some ideas of your expenses, your personal stuff. Obviously, we all have a household that we live in, and we have expenses there. But also making sure that you have some set aside expense money or some line items for your marketing, technology, continuing education. Most importantly, real estate agents, to pay your taxes when they come due. And to quote Dave Ramsey, let's create that emergency fund so that when things that happen that we didn't plan on, which they always do, we have a little little piece of security that we can take care of it. After you get through the financial piece of it, you got to delve into, okay, so these are the things that I need to want to do. So how am I going to get there? Then you start digging into your marketing and lead generation strategy. How am I going to get to these number of deals? I've set my income goal that I want to make $150,000 a year. I know that my average sales price last year and looking into this year was X. Let's call it 300,000. Okay, so how many deals am I going to have to do? So I'm going to need to do X number of deals. Now I need to go find out how I'm going to get them. What are my marketing strategies? How much am I spending in social media? How much am I spending in an email campaign? What does my sphere of influence play look like? How much am I investing into my people to pull as much as I can out of them? And then, as we go through the biggest piece of this, there's a lot of expenses that real estate agents can throw money at. It's important to know that you can say no, and you don't have to do it all. We've sat down with a lot of agents, and we do this every year, and it is consistently a question that agents are having with us, was they want to do more business next year, so they feel like they need to add different things into their business, when in reality, they need to double down on the things that are working well for them. So if you're getting 80% of your business from your sphere of influence, and yet you're only putting a very small fraction of money and time into that, well, maybe we need to put some more money and time into our sphere of influence to be able to pull more out of our sphere. So it's important to know that you don't have to do everything, and you shouldn't do everything, because going deeper consistently is going to garner more results.
Yeah, I would say adding strategies. We're here at the beginning of the year, and when we're talking about business planning. If you're looking at adding strategies for lead generation in your business, look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, have I mastered what I'm doing currently? And if you have not mastered what you're doing currently, continue to do that. Focus on building that. Do not focus on getting away and doing something else. Focus on diving into what your current strategy is.
Absolutely. It's a maturing business, and things that work. And when people find things that work, they want to go do something else and make that work as well. Well, things work because you've matured and your business has matured, and allow that maturation process to continue, and keep going deep with it.
Yep. So the next part of it is all right, so we got the financial piece, we've got our why we're doing what we do, we got what we need to do to get to that point, we've got our strategies, our lead generation to get us to this revenue, to get us to that point. Now we've got to implement time management. When am I going to do all this? So what we need to do there is we need to create a daily schedule that focuses on high value activities, plugging in those high value, those big rocks, right?
Non-negotiables.
Right. We're plugging all those in. We're putting all those in, so that way, when the day comes and we're working in our business again, the craziness, the fires, the distractions, they're not coming in the way. And we focus on this time management to get us to where we're going. So the way I do this is usually in the form of a schedule. Like, I have a daily schedule that I have out. You can have a daily, weekly, monthly, annually. I'd say do it annually, put your big rocks in, and then, again, reverse engineer all the way to your daily time, where if you're going to work 8 hours this day, I'm going to work between 8 and let's call it 5. And I put in everything I'm going to do today. One thing I would say to that would be, make sure you have flexibility within your daily and smaller schedules, because there is that time when you're going to have things that come up that have to be addressed at that point. Not everything has to be addressed at that point, but sometimes you have things that have to be addressed at that point. And therefore, you need flexibility within your schedule.
Absolutely. And I'm gonna back up for a second. I would say, as you're putting together your time management, your time blocking, whatever you want to call it, I think it's really good to start with an annual. Start with the year. So looking at 2025, looking at this year, and saying, okay, these are the non-negotiable things that are going to happen. For me, I've got non-negotiable things that I'm going to be at regardless of the fires, regardless of whatever, that I'm going to be at. These are family vacations. These are sporting events that my kids are going to be at. And if I know in advance, those are going in and they're getting put in black on my calendar and they're unmovable. Other things can work around the flexibility that you have in there, but there are certain things in our world that we need to keep as non-negotiables to keep that work-life balance in place, and it's important to do that as early as you can in the year so that you can build those other things around it. Next piece on the thing is performance and metrics. You know, guys, I will tell you, as you're delving into and you're taking the time to really put forth a thoughtful business plan, the most important piece of this is being able to determine if you are tracking right, if you're on course, and come second, third quarter, you can look back and say, okay, yeah, I'm right on track, or no, I need to adjust here. So how do you do that? Track your stuff, where your business is coming from, what you're doing during the day. Add more tracking into your business is going to allow you to really uncover the shortcomings and also the items that really work that you can double down on in your business. And so we need those key performance indicators, those KPIs for those business nerds like myself. And in order to get that, you have to have a tracking. For real estate agents, that looks like your leads, your closing, your conversion rate. So how many conversations you're having to how many listings or buyer contracts you get. And then, with that, set up a cadence of when you're going to review those things. Set up a cadence to review what you're tracking to make sure you're staying on course of where you want to be.
Yeah, the KPIs and the tracking is kind of where I look at, this is where you own your business and your business doesn't own you. Because at the end of the day, you can see whether what you're doing is effective or not. And that really is the most important piece of that, and if you find out that it's not being effective enough, then you can adjust. You can adjust your strategy based on that. So one other thing that you need to probably plug into your business plan, not probably, you should, it's very important, is personal development. Personal development is key. And we always say, if you're going to invest in something, invest in yourself. It's probably the best investment you could ever make because you are never going to fail yourself.
Absolutely. And when you are looking at personal and professional development, yes, as real estate agents, we have a license that we have to keep active, and we have to take continuing education. And that's important, and that needs to be part of it. But that can't be the only thing you do to professionally and personally develop. You have to add other things. You need to work and network with people who are doing things as well as you are or better. You need to be working with people who are doing things similarly to you and different. And you really need to go out and intentionally find some mentorship in your world, whether it's personal life or your professional life, and add that into your business, because we all think we know a lot, but we don't know what we don't know, and we have to introduce new concepts into our world to really see growth.
Yeah, you hear us talking a lot about skill sets and conversations with clients and other agents. These are areas where you really can focus on developing yourself in your business. Networking with other agents, having mentors, having collaboration with these people. These are all areas that you can really focus on building yourself and developing yourself.
And in that, one of the things that is super important in a business like that we're in, and I will say this is probably true for any business, your longevity in the business is predicated on your ability to adapt and change. Well, unless you're introducing new concepts into your world, you're not adapting and changing. You're reacting and trying to survive. Mm-hmm. And so therefore, reacting and trying to survive leaves you zero room for growing. Mm-hmm. And so it's super, super important. And along those lines, we need to make sure that we are, adapting to market changes. Where we are today is not where we're going to be in 6 months. It's not where we're going to be in 12 months. We went through 2024, and there were, market shifts throughout the year. And it's making sure that you have the ability to adapt and to take the tried and true principles of business and tweak them that work in the market that you're in currently.
Yeah, I would like on that piece of it. We always have to. This is about flexibility within your business plan. So I'm going to give an example of 2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago now, when interest rates just started going up really fast.
Yep.
Right. We're not going to see those types of changes every year, but that's where you need to understand you have to have flexibility built into your plan. Otherwise, when things happen like that, it's really hard to adjust. And we have to make sure we can adjust. An example of that is if we've got a whole lot of debt in something and we have something major happen in the market and all of a sudden our revenue slows down, how are we going to be able to pay that debt? Those are the things you need to understand when you're building your business plan and having market changes in that. So make sure you're taking understanding of what could happen in this coming year.
So, Brian, to wrap things up, the importance of business planning is super important. The importance of monitoring that plan throughout the year, revisiting it, see how you are stacking up with what you thought was going to happen and what you had planned to do, and hold yourself accountable. You said you wanted to do X activities. Did you do them? Okay, well, if you didn't, well, let's not beat ourselves up. Let's double down and let's get them done now. And if you revisit your business plan on a quarterly basis, which I think is a great cadence to review your business plan, you're going to be able to fix and tweak your activities because sometimes we do get distracted, and that's okay. It's about getting brought back to our center point, which is the plan that we made at the beginning, and executing on it as much as possible. Some of the things that as we delve into 2025, this year is going to be a great year. I encourage you to invest in yourself, invest in your business, because writing it in as Wayne Frederick, our mentor, said, writing it in and mailing it in is no longer an acceptable way of running a business. You have to be intentional. You have to be better than everybody else, because if you're not, you're going to be seeing yourself out of the business. So I don't want to see that happen to our listeners.
Yep. So as we're wrapping up, we've got new technology. So in our podcast now and throughout our platform, we've got this new place where you can come click on it and connect with us to be able to. It will, if you want to ask us questions, let us know how terrible we are or how awesome we are. You can do that through this. I think it's called fan mail.
Yep, it's fan mail. Yep, and you just hit a send a message. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
It's it brings up a text message right in your thing, comes right to us. We would love to hear from you, and it'll be right there in the description of the podcast and the show notes. Feel free to go in there and reach out, and just a thumbs up or a hey, how you guys doing? It would be fantastic.
Yeah. Here's to a wonderful 2025. We appreciate you guys being with us, and we look forward to a wonderful year.